mai e Ziua Europei și asta înseamnă că într-o lună votăm. Salutare, sunt Alexandra de la Gen Știri și sunt la ambasada Germaniei în București. Urmează să vezi un interviu în limba engleză cu ambasadorul Germaniei în România, dr. Per Gebauer. Stai pe aproape. Mr. Gebauer, thank you for meeting us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on your show.
Today we are celebrating the unity of Europe. And Germany is a founder member of the European Union. So how do you think the European Union shaped the world?
The European Union truly is a success story, despite all the things you might be arguing about, but overall it has brought us in Europe, on our continent, decades of peace. And that's a lot. That's something which cannot be appreciated too much. The generation of our parents, of our grandparents, my parents, grandparents, I have to say, were suffering from numerous wars. And now we live in peace and unity within Europe, despite the fact, of course, that we face very many threats now from the east, from the Russian aggression. But within the EU, we have achieved a lot, and I think this is cause to celebrate today.
In 1 month, we will have European elections, both in Germany and Romania. In Romania, we will have 1 million people going to vote for the first time. Do you remember your first vote?
Oh, that's been a while ago. I would have to think. I would say it was the federal elections of 1990, which were the first elections in a unified Germany, December 1990. So I have very, very good memories of a time when German history was very positively, of course, developing due to the unification, the peaceful unification. It's always a great moment for anybody to be able to make use of the right to vote, and I particularly welcome the new voters, the next generation, so to speak, and of course kindly invite everybody to make use of this possibility, of this right. This is what democracy, this is what our systems are all about.
In our country, teenagers aged 16 and 17 can vote. In Romania, we can vote only if we are 18 or over. Should all European citizens that are age 16 and over have the right to vote?
Oh, it's a big discussion also in Germany, and we have now the situation that for the European elections, it's possible to vote starting with the age of 16, while for the national elections it's still 18. I think it's important in general to involve young people in politics, to make sure that there is an interest in our system. After all, democracy only works by people participating, by everybody joining, raising their voice, and of course making use of the possibility to vote. So in that sense, it's good to be attractive also to young voters, and I applaud the efforts now to have a younger age in some areas. In the end, it's up to each country and each system to decide on its own, and I wouldn't give any recommendations, but of course anybody who is able to vote is more than welcome to do so.
And in Belgium, it is mandatory to vote if you are 16 or older. Do you think it's a good idea to make the vote mandatory?
Well, there are a few countries that have this system of mandatory vote. I don't know. I think the beauty of democracy is also that lies in the fact that countries are able to choose various systems of participation. And I wouldn't be in a position to say this or that is the only way forward. Same question about majority voting or proportional voting system. There are many angles, and the same is true when it comes to the obligation to vote. I wouldn't give any recommendations, but of course it's a way forward. And usually these countries, of course, bring about a higher participation, a higher polling participation that, of course, has a value in itself. But we don't have this in Germany.
What are your fears regarding the next elections?
Well, fears, I think in general, our societies do face a bit of a threat from extremist forces that question our systems, that question democracy. Democracy is always strong when you have, of course, a fair competition between various political parties and various political concepts. But in the end, it's all a group of participants that share the goal, that want to strengthen democracy. When you have actors that are questioning the systems, that are advocating an autocratic system instead of a democratic system, this becomes indeed dangerous, and we face this threat much more than maybe in the past. But of course, we are strong enough to defend our systems against these threats.
And you have been the German ambassador in Romania for almost 3 years. During your stay here, Russia started the full-scale war in Ukraine. If Ukraine is losing, how will Germany prepare?
You're right. Russia started this unprecedented, unprovoked, and illegal war of aggression against Ukraine. And Romania, of course, bordering on Ukraine, is directly affected by this terrible aggression. Let me start by saying that we appreciate Romania's efforts, both by the government and the society in general, in countering all the effects, taking in refugees very graciously, supporting Ukraine humanitarianly, of course, also when it comes to grain export and other areas. So this is a great achievement by Romania. When it comes to the question of how will this war develop, I think nobody can really predict the outcome of any war. This is a historical fact. And of course, we all have to do our utmost to make sure that Ukraine is not losing this war, but it is winning this war in being able to defend itself against this aggression. So I shy away from speculating about what if. I think we should now concentrate on let's make sure that Ukraine is not losing, that on the contrary, Russia is losing its aggression, and that Ukraine will be able to defend its territory and its liberty.
And because we are talking about safety, as an ambassador, what digital security measures do you take besides not choosing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as your passwords?
No, I won't do that. Cybersecurity is an increasingly pressing and important issue, obviously. As a system, as a diplomatic service, we have a number of tools in place that make sure that our internal communication systems are protected the best way they can be protected, but you never have a 100% guarantee. Of course, it comes also down to us, to ourselves, taking precautionary measures, meaning you don't take your mobile phones into negotiations or into talks that need to stay confidential. You have to make sure that you don't lose your IT components or just leave them standing there open for everybody to access. I mean, there are a number of steps that we take, but I think we all need to get better because the threats, the cyber threats, will increase with the technical developments, that's for sure. And we will see many more challenges in the future. So you're right in raising this issue. It's a very pressing one. We try our best, but I wouldn't say that anybody of us is perfect.
2 more serious subjects, and then we will go to the lighter one.
Wow, I'm excited.
On 1st of April, Iranian state media said that Israel bombed the consulate in Damascus, and at least 7 people died. The tension grew and also fears of escalation. And the same week, Ecuador's police entered in Mexico embassy and arrested a former vice president. I want to ask you, what's the status of an embassy? What can a foreign country do or not do in an embassy?
Well, generally speaking, the status of an embassy, of a diplomatic premises, is regulated by the Vienna Convention of the 60s. It's an important tool for diplomacy to make sure that diplomats can work free of interference from or undue interference from the host nation's governments. You've named 2 recent incidences that pose a threat, a challenge to this diplomatic premises immunity. But on the other hand, I think one has to really distinguish between the cases here. Storming the embassy premises in Ecuador, as you said, in Latin America, I think is a direct violation of the diplomatic immunity of an embassy compound, which was harshly criticized. Damascus, I personally think it's a bit of a different story because, first of all, the surroundings and the situation is a bit less clear in this regard. And in general, in the Middle East, we face a very complicated situation with Israel's right to exist being directly questioned and put into jeopardy by other actors, and I think it's very, very necessary to counter these threats to the existence of the Israeli state. And at the same time, from our point of view, from German point of view, we feel that it's very necessary to avoid any further escalation in this regard. You very well know that Iran has a retaliatory measures had launched a full-fledged attack on Israel, which was luckily fought back without major damages, but it showed how thin the line is and how dangerous it can become in the Middle East. And it was very necessary for all of us to call for a de-escalation of the situation. Right now, I think it has calmed down a bit.
Okay, and to make the conversation clearer, the next one is a yes or no question. Could we say that this embassy is a smaller part of Germany in Romania?
It's not Germany here. It's Romanian territory. But it is Romanian territory where, according to international law, the Romanian government has no right to interfere. I know it's often a perception that foreign embassies are territory of the state of the embassy, but it's certainly not true. Again, this is Romania, where we're sitting right now here in the garden of the embassy, but the Romanian government has, according to the Vienna Convention, agreed not to interfere on this territory. The same is true for the Romanian embassy in Berlin.
So does that mean we can cultivate cannabis here?
You're referring to the recent law in Germany about decriminalizing private use and possession of cannabis. Now, this has been, of course, heavily debated and is still heavily debated in Germany, and one can have this or that view. I think it's the strength of any democracy that you can have discussions like that. The idea behind this law was to decriminalize those that are using it, in a private scope and are not doing business with it. And the idea was also to sort of dry out a black market. Again, one can openly discuss and debate whether it's the right move or not. I'm not going to enter into this discussion. But coming back to your question, as this is Romanian soil, and in Romania, I assume it's not legal. So no, you're not able to cultivate here. Could Romania prevent us from doing so? No, they couldn't, because it's something, as I said before, where Romania will not interfere. But I can assure you, we have no intention, I'll make sure as ambassador, that nobody grows marijuana or cannabis here.
Okay, thank you. I remember from the last time we met that you're a fan of football.
Yes.
And this year Germany is hosting the
football championship, yes.
Which team do you think will be a challenge for both Romania and Germany?
Well, first of all, I'm very happy that not only Germany as a host, but also Romania is joining this tournament, has qualified, having played an outstanding qualification round. Congratulations to that. We're looking forward to have Romania, the team, as well as the fans in Germany. This will hopefully be a wonderful possibility to unite Europe. Both teams, I think, have a chance to proceed to the next round. I wouldn't consider Germany or Romania to be the top favorite of the tournament. There might be others. I feel France, England also, they have very strong teams. You should never count out Italy and Spain. And again, perhaps Germany and Romania will enter in this realm as well. But the good thing about football and about a European Football Championship is that in the end, you never know. There have been a number of tournaments in the past where teams managed to clinch the title despite anybody feeling they would do so. 1992, Denmark, they just won out of the blue. They didn't even qualify, it just came in the very last minute. Greece in 2004, if I'm not mistaken. A number of teams that you didn't count on, and this is the beauty about football. And who knows, maybe Romania will take the trophy with it.
We almost reached the end of our interview. I heard there will be a new James Bond movie called Bond 26. And I don't know if you saw it, but it was published, the trailer on YouTube of this movie. And the time we are filming this, it has more than 3 million views. And in the cast is Henry Cavill and Margot Robbie. But it's fake. The trailer is made with AI.
Okay.
Yes. And although the trailer is AI generated and we still don't know the cast of the movie, the official cast, do you think it is time for a female James Bond?
Oh, why not? I think this would certainly be a wonderful idea to continue with this very great movie series. You're right that AI can do a lot these days, and often AI can also inspire us. It's not a threat. Generally, it's also a tool to make use of and an inspiration. And in that sense, why not take this as an inspiration for female James Bond? I would be happy to watch a movie like that.
And is AI used here in the embassy?
Not yet, despite the fact that, of course, we start to explore a bit the possibilities of ChatGPT. We have internal, for ministry internal systems, AI-based that we are just piloting in a sense, trying to find out how we can make best use of it. I'm a great supporter of this notion. I feel AI, again, should not be perceived mainly as a threat. There are some risks obviously involved, but mainly as an opportunity. And we will see much more of that in the future. And it will certainly have a great impact on diplomacy as well. So I think we should be front runners and early adopters. And I would be happy to do my part in this regard.
Okay, so we should not ban it.
Yeah. No, shouldn't ban it. No, you can't ban it and we shouldn't. We should make use of it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for your time. This was all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the wonderful questions and the interview. Thanks.